In the last 3 days, I've had 5 notifications come through. So we've got a Slack channel. We've got like Slack channels for everything. Really cool Slack setup. I will do a video on it if anybody wants to see that. I would be happy to share. But one of the channels is about our remote professionals and just how long they've been with their clients. So we get like daily updates on this. And in the last 3 days, I've had 5 notifications. And they range between remote professional being with their client for 6 months. And we had 2 of them right up there, remote professional being with their client, one for 2.5 years, one for 3 years. And our retention over a 30-month period is 97%. So we always talk about that. And what that means is that 97% of our clients are still working with the same remote professional 30 months after they started working with them. And I know that that is not necessarily what people think when they think about working with remote professionals or working with people from different countries, in our case, specifically the Philippines. Because often when people think about that, when agency owners think about that, they're thinking, you know what, it sounds a little bit risky. I'm worried that if I hire someone from the Philippines, they're just going to disappear on me or ghost me or whatever it might be. But in our experience, what we see time and time again is actually if you place somebody in a marketing agency and you hire the right person and you set them up properly, you onboard them properly, and you set them up for success, they don't disappear. They actually stay. They deliver exceptional quality of work. They take ownership of their role, all of those things that we talk about all of the time. And as my kind of start of this video explained, we just see that they stay in the role, and the compounding value of having them in that business for the founder grows and grows and grows month on month, year on year. Where we see or have seen in the past this not work, and when we speak to marketing agency owners who go, oh yeah, I hired someone from the Philippines before, or I hired a remote professional before and it didn't work. Normally it's because the role wasn't aligned properly in the first place. It's because they weren't managed properly. The relationship wasn't built well. Their remote professional themselves didn't feel like they had purpose in their role. There weren't the wins, so they didn't feel like they were winning or achieving things in their role. And we see time and time again when people come to us, they say things like, oh, my experience hasn't been great. I always ask, have you ever worked with a remote professional before? I go, yeah, but I haven't had a great experience. They've ghosted me, or they were doing work. I found someone on Upwork, for example, and they were doing this project, and then the quality wasn't very good, and there was a lot of back and forth. Or I hired someone before and they just didn't use any initiative. So we know what it looks like when it doesn't work, and we know why it doesn't work. But what does it look like when it does work? What does it look like when you get that right person in the business and they stay and they continue to grow within their role and they continue to add value? And why does that happen? So when it works, what is it that's made it work? So for me, it comes down to 4 key things. The first one is role alignment. When you're thinking about hiring someone into the business, and again, most of the things I talk about, guys, are relevant for whether you're hiring remotely or whether you're hiring in-house. It makes no difference. The role alignment needs to be considered, and it needs to be really relevant. So when I'm hiring someone for our clients or for ourselves, I want to be thinking about what is the role that we're going to be placing these people into, and then who are we going to be placing into this role to get the relevant outcomes? Because if somebody has a purpose in their role and comes into work every single day and feels purposeful and driven, they're going to stay in that role, irrelevant of whether or not they're sat in an office or over in the Philippines. Secondly, is people who get given autonomy over micromanagement want to stay in those roles because they get given the opportunity to prove themselves. They get given the opportunity to take ownership of something in that role, to make it theirs. Best example I have, actually, one of the people who was on my notifications, a girl called Bella. We placed her 2.5 years ago with one of our clients who is the CEO of a fairly large engineering company, and he wanted someone who was going to essentially quieten all the noise in his mind, right? So he needed someone who's going to come in and help with his operations. So we placed Bella in his business, and he literally said straight away, I don't care how you do what you do. I just care that it gets done. And he didn't say that in a negative way. He literally handed autonomy over to her. And since then, she's been able to not manage his emails, not manage his calendar. She's been able to build full workflows and full systems for him so that he doesn't actually now need to think about things. Before he's even started thinking about something, she's preempted it and she's built something out for him. So she essentially is another version of him in his business. So all of that noise of things that were in his mind distracting him from things that he needed to do, and that out of his mind so he can focus very heavily on relationships. And actually, interestingly, they just had a huge sale of part of their business because he'd had the space to really think about things and think about moving the dial. So autonomy over micromanagement. The third thing is early wins in the onboarding and full transparency. Often, and we talk about this again all of the time, so often people use that onboarding as, oh, we'll see what they can do. We'll see if it works out. It's a bit of a trial. Actually, the onboarding is the opportunity to set the foundations. So early on, when you onboard somebody properly and when you're fully transparent, what your expectations are in that onboarding, what you want them to take ownership of in that onboarding, what you want the outcome of their role to be in that onboarding, they come in now, they know what's expected. They know what they can take ownership of. They're excited. They want to get into that. That immediately sets them off on the right foot with you and you off on the right foot with them. And lastly, that ongoing career development and relationship. So when you have a remote professional or anyone in your business, if you give them the opportunity to develop their career and you build that relationship where you find out what matters to them, what are their goals, what do they actually want to achieve personally and professionally. Really good example, again, is one of our clients when we spoke to him on his 90-day, one of his 90-day check-ins. I think this was about 6 months in, and I'd said, how's your remote professional doing? Is there any areas that we can add additional support in? He said, she's doing everything that I would expect her to do. She's absolutely meeting my expectations. So now I'm going to work with her a little bit more to say, I want you to be exceeding my expectations. I want you to add more value because I know she's got a lot more to give. So I just want to work with her to give her the confidence and to give her the encouragement to start putting that absolute best foot forward every day. When you bring someone into your business as a business owner, as a marketing agency, founder, owner, whatever it might be, you have the opportunity to help that person build the best version of their careers. It's an amazing opportunity. So if you're bringing somebody in, again, it doesn't matter where you're bringing them in from, treat it as a true opportunity to develop this person professionally within their role because it's going to pay you back. One, it's super satisfying, but two, it's going to pay you back 50 million fold because it's going to ensure that they also want to develop, that they're also matching that and bringing everything that they can to the table. And the compounding value of having someone in your business for a long period of time is not linear, it's exponential. Right? So someone that's been in your business for 6 months is significantly more valuable to you than someone who's been in your business for 1 month. But if you have someone who's been in your business for 2 years and 6 months, they know everything. They know how the business operates. They know the vision. They know the values. They've built things out. They're intrinsically important to the running of the business and the way that you think. It's so valuable to be able to keep people in your business. These are some of the ways that you can do that. Right? That embedded knowledge that someone has from working with you for such a long period of time, it can't be bought. It can only develop over time. If ever you've hired someone as an agency owner who has been a task hire, you'll see that the retention's not great on task hires. They may be there for a little while and then they leave. It is costly. It's expensive to keep replacing them, not just financially, but it's expensive to keep replacing them. Your time, all of that time lost of you working with them and then you having to do that again and again and again. And often this is one of the reasons that you may feel that you're plateauing because you keep hiring task hires as opposed to hiring people for that long term, those people that you're going to embed into the agency and then embedding them in properly. So retention, essentially, to summarize, is the compounded interest of hiring, onboarding, and managing well. So the next time that you're thinking about hiring someone, onboarding them, setting them up for success, this long-term retention, really have a think about those 4 different areas that I talked about.